Hi folks, John Dunn here, RPG freelancer, publisher behind Meliorvia. I'm up here at Immortals Inc. with Mikey tonight.
Hello, John. It is a pleasure to join you this evening and long time no see.
You know, it's been a little bit, but at the same time, I think we've been doing these for about a year now.
I know, dude. It's kind of mind-blowing because it's like there's no way it's already at this point, but at the same time, it makes sense.
I get you.
But time to throw a party. I think next episode might have to be a party.
Well, we'll see what we can do. But
looks like we got a party right now.
We got something fun to talk about tonight, and that is Shotguns and Sorcery. This is an RPG setting that we've had on the shelf for a little bit up here at Immortals. I think it's pretty awesome.
I've never heard that collab before.
Yeah, so it gets into a neat mix of technology with fantasy, and the setting is advanced a little bit from your usual kind of typical fantasy time frame, because if you look at the guy, he's dressed kind of like he's somebody coming right out of the 1920s era. That's because this is a noir themed setting. So we've got gunpowder at the same time as we have magic. And are you familiar with the noir genre, Mike?
Yeah, a little bit of a cheat code. You gave it to me a little bit earlier, but you mentioned it has a darker tone compared to the pulp setting, right?
So usually in pulps, the characters are going to be very heroic, and things are typically going to go their way more often than not. In noir, it's going to be darker, and things are usually going to be a lot more challenging for our
heroes.
heroes.
I think of noir, I think of black and white, so that was kind of just...
Yeah, and that's kind of the era where a lot of noir films were made, was in the black and white film era. So yeah, you're pretty spot on with that.
Am I finally spot on with something?
I think you are.
Like I said, I cheated. You kind of told me earlier.
So this was created by Matt Forbeck. He is a novelist and also an RPG designer. He did the superhero setting Brave New World. I don't know if you've heard of that one, but that
I actually
came out a while back. Yeah, it's a pretty cool setting. He created this setting primarily for his writing work, and then the game kind of evolved out of that. On the rules side of things, he worked with Rob Schwab, whose name has come up recently because he was the guy who did the rules work for Book of Fiends.
Dark.
Yeah, very dark. And there are some dark elements here. We'll come back to that, though. And finally, Jeremy Moeller was the guy behind all the artwork on this. And the art is really consistent and very well done throughout. This was kickstarted in 2014 and came out in 2019. Again, it was based on Matt Forbeck's fiction. And it uses the Cipher system, which is the rule system published by Monty Cook Games. There is a Pathfinder conversion for this that's available in PDF. Actually, they kickstarted a D&D 5th edition version of it last November, and I think that's just coming out now in hardcover. If you're really interested in that, I'm pretty sure you should stop into the store, and somebody here may be able to get you a copy.
Wait, you mean D&D 5th edition had something like this?
So this same setting book, this one is written for the Cipher system, but there is an essentially identical book available for D&D 5th edition as well.
Wow.
Both published through the same system, I believe. Full Moon Enterprises is the name of the company behind this. So this is noir meeting fantasy, and what's kind of neat about it is the whole kit and caboodle, the whole setting takes place in one city, and that city is called Dragon City. Got a guess for why it's called Dragon City, Mikey?
It's kind of hard for me to put it on the tip of my tongue, but I'm guessing it's dragon related.
It is dragon related. In fact, everyone in the city pledges their allegiance to the Emperor Dragon, who rules the city.
So back in the day, it used to be the flag, still is, but now here in Dragon City, it's the dragon.
Exactly.
Okay.
The reason they pledged their allegiance to the dragon and founded their city on the Dragon's Mountain is because the rest of the world, things went horribly wrong. 500 years ago, there was this necromancer who became incredibly powerful and decided he wanted to control the world. And since he was a necromancer, the best way to do that was to kill everyone in it and turn them into his puppets.
Yeah, reanimate corpse, baby.
Right, yeah, it's straightforward. The people that were still alive realized there was one entity who could protect them. It was the dragon. So they went to the dragon and said, hey, if you help us defeat the necromancer, we will pledge our loyalty to you for until the end of time. And thus, Dragon City was founded on the mountain where the dragon made his base of operations. and where he still lives.
Do they sing him a theme song every morning when they wake
I
up?
would think,
Yeah.
right?
Would you?
If I were the dragon, I would totally expect nothing less than a theme song, right?
Would you live in this city?
If the rest of the world was full of zombies, yes.
Okay,
yes,
so
I would.
currently the world is full of zombies outside of Dragon City, right?
That's my understanding. And let me tell you, this kind of reminds me a lot of Attack on Titan. If you're
Okay.
familiar with that anime where
I haven't watched it, but I know about
where
it.
you've got this one city and everything outside of the city is an incredibly dangerous place for people to go. Just the themes there kind of resonated for me. So the city's been around for about 500 years. It's segregated into neighborhoods, and those neighborhoods are divided up based on the species of the inhabitants. So you've got elves, dwarves, gnomes, halflings, humans, a greenskin neighborhood that includes goblins, orcs, and trolls. The wizards kind of have a special neighborhood where they can go because, they're wizards and there's big explosions. And frankly, nobody wants to live that close to them.
I know they're similar, but not the same to necromancers, but I feel like people have trust issues.
I mean, fair, right?
I would.
One thing that's kind of interesting about it is that the elves have a lot of authority within Dragon City.
Ooh.
They run the police. They secure the wall that's on the city's perimeter.
Would you feel safe?
Well, they live a really long time, so they kind of,
They
keep
seen
getting
a lot.
promoted until they're in that position, right?
What's that hourly rate at the end of the day?
Well,
To be determined. You got to
exactly.
open the book.
Character creation uses the cipher system. There's several chapters on that. Of note, there aren't any other books required with this version. The whole rules system is included in here. Cipher system uses pools of might, speed, and intellect. Those are generally based on your race. There's 6 tiers, which more or less correspond to levels in other game systems. And characters are defined by a race, a type, a descriptor, and a focus. You would have a sentence, which would be, I am a descriptor race, a type who focuses. So I'm a stealthy halfling, a freelance who works the back alleys, just as a for instance. I am an honorable goblin, a veteran who leads, another for instance. There are a chapter on each of those 4 things: the descriptor, the race, the type, and the focus. The types are freelancers, wizards, and veterans. Descriptors give special abilities. They modify your dice pools, which are going to be based primarily on your attributes. Focuses have general and tier-based abilities. There's about 30 pages that cover those, and there's a brief equipment section, which thematically appropriately includes firearms. And then there's maybe another 30 pages of game mechanics in this book. After that, you get into about 60 pages of different creatures and NPCs. Because it is a fantasy setting, if you're doing other things with the cipher system, it's really easy to port creatures from those materials in. Some of these are setting specific, but most of what you're seeing here is fairly generalized fantasy type things. There's some really cool, flavorful NPCs that are defined here that help fill in the city and populate it with a lot of different roles and characters that give a whole lot of adventure hooks just by their nature. And there's some generic NPCs that you've got stats for that are convenient if you just need to fill in a place for an unexpected encounter. After that, there's about 30 pages of magic items here. They split those out into 3 categories: ciphers, artifacts, and trinkets. Ciphers are single-use items like a potion or a scroll. Artifacts are longer-lasting, more powerful items. They're pretty rare. And trinkets are also longer-lasting than ciphers, but they're pretty minor things, like, maybe a lighter that was magical might be a trinket. After that, there's about 50 pages of GM advice for running the game, particularly as it ties into the setting. One of the themes that comes up are intrusions, which are situational changes that the PCs may be able to buy off through, kind of negotiating or role-playing elements. And then there's a bunch of setting-specific materials that really help define the cities and the relationships between the different cultures that are active in the different neighborhoods, and, what you might want to do with this city and how it could feed into a longer-term campaign, or how this city might just be an element that had been in isolation inside of another campaign world if you want to tie this into your own setting. It's published by Full Moon Enterprises. It is a full-color hardcover. Like I said, the artwork in here is pretty cool and very consistent throughout as you flip through it. It's very nicely done thematically. 260 pages, and it retails for $60. This sounds like something that you think might be cool for your campaign? stop in and take a look, or it's available at immortalsinc.com.
Well said by the man himself. Immortalsinc.com. Thank you guys for rocking with us. Till next time.
Good gaming, folks.